All right, let's walk our way through the research required for week 2 of the corporate finance course. The first thing that we should have done is you should have been able to find your company's NAICS number. There is a video that talks about the industry ratios and where you find that data and how you input it into the financial statement analysis worksheet. So you should be working on that, complete that, make sure that that is done, and we'll try to see and make sure at least that to the best of our ability that it's correct. The other thing you obviously will need to do is you need to complete inputting the data into the data sheet under, again, the financial statement analysis worksheet. When you have completed that, you need to copy and paste the financial statements in this document. Also copy and paste the ratios from that worksheet. We're also going to want to copy and paste the information into the Chapter 2 study guide. So let's take a real quick little review about how we have to go about doing these things. Right here is the ZAX worksheet, Internet Access Sheet. We want to go down here. We want to find the data. Here's the data for your company. Now, sometimes it's a little difficult to input the data. Some of these line items don't match up exactly. That's why we want to double check and make sure everything looks pretty squared away when it comes to your inputting of the data and what the spreadsheets ultimately look like. Now, there is some data that's kind of easy to find, and then there's some other data in that spreadsheet that's not so easy to find. And that's what I want to talk just a wee little bit about and just review where you find some of that information. All the information that you need is on these worksheets, with the exception of two things. We need prices and we need dividends. Where we're going to get that is from the Yahoo Finance worksheet. So let's first take a look at the worksheet real quick. And here is the worksheet. We go clear to the right here. You want to input all of the data into this worksheet. Keep in mind the signs, right? If it's interest expense, it needs to go in as a negative number. If it's taxes, it needs to go in as a negative number. However, from time to time, they'll put numbers in there that aren't that are negative. For instance, in this case, we have EBIT. We have actually a negative EBIT for cores here for the last several years. So again, you want to keep that in mind. Watch the signs as they go in so they make a little bit of sense. The two line items that we can't find in ZAX are these two below here. And that's what we're going to talk about. First, how do we find the stock prices? Well, I've actually asked you to do this in a previous exercise. You go to under Yahoo Finance, you go to historical prices, and you want to look just for monthly prices. So we're going to look for monthly prices, and you just say get prices. Now you have this data. You may have recorded this data already, but what I'd like us to do is just keep in mind now that we have to match up some dates. My fiscal year end is December 31st. So I need the price that's closest to December 31st, which in this case is the January 2nd price. So I'm going to go through here. My first price is $51.74, and then I go down here to, I'm going to find a price in January of $43.28, and those are the prices that I'm going to use. So you have to be a little particular about the month-end prices that you're using, because these aren't really month-end, these are annual or year-end prices that we're looking for. In addition, we have to do the exact same kind of thing with dividends. Click on the dividends radio and open them up, and now we have to match the years. So you find we're looking at 2013 is my most frequent. So if I look at 2013, that's these dividends. Hope I didn't get all of them. That's these dividends right here, these four. So that's $1. That's 64, 64. It's $1.28. The next four, I would do the exact same thing for the next four in 2012, 11, 10, and 9. Again, that won't necessarily exactly match what you did in an earlier example, but it should be pretty close. So now we know we can then input the annual dividends and the month-end stock prices here for this particular company. So now that all the data is in, we can assume that it's in correctly. The next thing we want to do is we can then look at the ratios. So here are the financial ratios for this company for the last 5 years. Now I want to use that data. So I would like to go and first just show you here in the study guide 2. Right? For study guide 2, as you look down things, you're obviously going to answer some questions in study guide 2. But I would like you to take the data and input it into this spreadsheet. And it's very easy to do, actually. It's just cut and paste. And when you cut and paste that data, you'll have you'll do a row for like the days sales outstanding, and then you have to do the inside and days sales outstanding for the industry. And if we've done this correctly, if we go down below, you should be able to find a worksheet that actually has calculated and created some of these components. And here they are right here. So here we have some of the industry numbers. We would want to obviously create and combine some of those numbers so that we could cut and paste. So for right now, let's just assume we're going to cut and paste from the financial ratios section over here. You'll cut and paste one row at a time, and then you also do the exact same thing. You'll cut and paste, and it's actually not that hard. You'll cut and paste from the industry ratio page into the slots as you come across them in the study guide. And I think that'll work out fairly easily. When you've completed that, then we're ready to do the rest of the financial analysis for this course. So you're going to, again, copy and paste that into the Chapter 2 study guide. As we have completed some of the data and the analysis in class, as we cover Chapter 2, then you will be able to complete the data in there. And it's nice if you already have the data included so that we can talk about the analysis during the class time. So you may have questions and we can fill in some of the blanks for you. In addition, some other things I would like us to do is to do a little bit more exploration. Again, in Yahoo Finance, I would like you to go to the competitor section for your company. And we want to look up, obviously find some information. There's some information about direct competitors. I want you to identify who they are. Some of them are going to be private. This is a private company. So if you look down here, this private company is actually Carlsberg Breweries. So you can usually fill in the names and then obviously fill in the table that's in this study guide. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong one. That's in the research document for the course. So goes to the competitors. If you scroll down a little bit further in that file, you'll also find a little bit more information down below. Is about non-alcoholic beverage makers. So again, we don't really need to make any comparisons with them, but you just want to let you know that that kind of information is there and of course is available. So the next thing we would like to do is look at under this is to try to figure out how our company compares to competitors and the industry itself. So again, if we go back up to that site, again, there are individual points that you can download from here. Here's the market capitalization, EBITDA, gross margin. Those are all variables that I ask for here across the spreadsheet, across this table. Again, so plug in your companies here and their ticker symbol. Here are the competitors that you have. There are 3 of them. Down below, you'll repeat that in the column here, and then fill in the blanks here with the information from that particular company and the industry. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move to another section called the analyst opinion. So we're going to go to down here a couple of slides. Here's analyst opinion. Figure out, click on that button, and of course we're going to get some information about the company. What do the analysts, what are they saying about the company? So the first thing I'd like you to do, obviously, is try to get a feel for what they're telling us here. What kind of information is being portrayed here? If you need some more information, obviously you might be able to click on a help thing or something, and that might you might be able to get a little bit more information that way. But it's a great way to kind of see, well, what are the actual financial managers thinking about your company? So you'll fill that in. Just tell me a little bit how, describe the analysis that you read, and then tell me how the analysts are currently feeling about your company. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to the analyst estimate section. Again, we're still in Yahoo Finance, so we're going to go to the next hyperlink down, which is the analyst estimates. And here we find some estimates of things for the company. And some of these we've already looked for and found. Here's the earnings per share of the company. This is the current quarter. This is what they expect for next year. So for next year, they expect $4.32. By the end of this year, they expect $3.95. They expect earnings per share to increase between now and 2015. We can find things about revenues, the earnings history of the company, right? We can also find some earnings per share trend numbers. We can find some growth estimates. And here's where we want to spend a little bit of time. We would like to, if you look at the table here, there are four variables. You have the company, the industry, the sector, and the S&P 500. So what I want you to do, again, is always, we'll just transfer this data into the table. I'm going to ask you to just do a little bit of research and find out something about this thing called the PEG ratio. What is it, and what does it measure? In the end, you're also then going to analyze how your company seems to compare to the industry that we've been gathering data for in the beginning part of this research. The last section of this is we're going to start to begin writing some short papers about the company. Each one of these papers is going to be 1 to 2 pages long. The first paper is, I would like you to give me a short description of your company's history. I wouldn't go clear back to the beginning of time, but if you just go back over the past 5 to 10 years, try to find those big events that have happened that are probably making the biggest influence on the company's current financial standing. Again, spelling and proper grammar are going to be graded. Citations are required. So please make sure you edit and spell check your paper before you send it through. So I think week 2's research is not terribly detailed. Some of it you've already done. Some of it we're just going to make some checks before we go to actually start the analysis part of the company. Of course, should you have any questions, you can always forward a question and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. So that's the research for week 2.